Hello and welcome. My name is Angie Holden and I'm the blogger behind The Country Chic Cottage. Did you know that you can cut cardboard with your Cricut machine? Now we're going to cut thicker corrugated cardboard today, like packaging material boxes you might get from Amazon. So we are going to use the Cricut Maker with the knife blade. If you want to do something similar, you can cut cereal boxes, things like that, with the fine point blade with any Cricut machine. But today we are going to walk through the steps on using the Maker with the knife blade to cut thicker cardboard pieces. And we're going to do a variety of shapes, long shapes, circles, and we're going to make a project. Because everyone needs a mini donut pinata in their life. I definitely believe that. So if you are ready for a donut pinata or just to cut cardboard for any project you might have in mind, then this video is for you. So first let's take a look at the types of cardboard that you could cut with your Cricut machine and how to tell the differences. What types of cardboard can you cut with your Cricut? So if you have something, here I have just a frozen pizza box. If you have something like this, cereal boxes are a great example, that are very, very thin. It is more like a thick paper and it can be cut on any Cricut machine. So you can just use the fine point blade, use something like the craft board setting to cut it, and cutting this is very, very easy. If you want to cut thicker cardboard, I recommend the Maker with the knife blade. I do think it's much easier to cut thicker cardboard pieces. This is a variety of thicknesses of cardboard, and it's all just shipping boxes. Shipping boxes that I've gotten things in. Amazon sometimes has boxes that will work. It just depends on how thick the cardboard is, whether it will work in your Cricut machine. So all three of these pieces, for example, are a single wall cardboard that's corrugated. However, every single one of them is a different thickness. So you can see this thin version here, it'll cut pretty easily with our Cricut machine. It is a corrugated cardboard, however, it is pretty thin. And then you have varying thicknesses with these two as well. So just because it's a single wall corrugated cardboard does not mean it's going to fit in your Cricut machine. So let's take a look at the Cricut itself and how to determine which of these will work. So now I have my Cricut Maker out. I have my star wheels moved all the way over to the right. I did go ahead and install my knife blade. Now the way I check if a cardboard is the right thickness is to simply put it under the bar. If it won't go under the bar, it's too thick. This piece, for instance, will go right under. Now we will have the extra thickness of the mat, so we can check it with the mat as we load it, but most likely if it fits under the bar easily, without the mat attached, it's going to work. So I would just test all the pieces I had and see if they'll fit under the bar. Do not force it under the bar because it's just not going to cut correctly. You want it to slide easily under the bar. And this is the Cricut Maker. The maximum thickness for the Cricut Maker is more than the Cricut Explorer, so the bar is higher. So always test it with the Maker machine, which is the machine we're going to be using with the knife blade to cut. So I'm going to use, I have a couple pieces here that will easily slide under. So I'm just going to use these corrugated cardboard pieces, and this was just a shipping box, and I'm going to add them to my mat and cut them. So let's take a look at that process. So I like to use a strong grip mat and then just add my cardboard piece to the mat. Now you do want to make sure that the cardboard piece, the star wheels, we move them all the way over. So you do want to leave about 1 inch over here. I left 2 inches. That was just the size of my box. Then use a brayer to bray it down. You want to make sure it's really well down on the mat. Then we're going to go ahead and load the mat. Again, we're making sure that it goes under the roller without any issue. Now, the corrugated cardboard setting in Cricut Design Space is actually for their corrugated cardboard, which is going to be way thinner and way easier to cut than something like this. So I picked the chipboard 1.5 millimeter setting, and I'm just going to watch it carefully. You can pause the machine at any time, check to see if it's cut through, that type of thing. We're just going to cut a few basic shapes from this piece, and then we'll take a look at a project later. So we'll go ahead and click the go button to cut. So that's one pass done. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause the machine. If it pauses with the mat already in, you can check from the back, or you can click the go button, let it do a little bit more of the cycle, and press pause again. So I'm gonna press pause now. And now it's stopped with most of the mat out of the machine. And now I'm just gonna kind of pick up the edge. I think it's cutting through? About 3 passes is what we're gonna need. So I'm just gonna sit here and watch it. So I'm going to click go again. Now I can see some of this is starting to lift up. If that happens, we can just kind of remove it. The cardboard itself is going to be like in layers. So we just don't want this to get hung up in the machine. So again, I just paused the machine, removed anything that's lifting up. It was just sort of the top layers in this area. And then I'll just press go and finish a couple more passes. So this has went about 3 passes. So I'm going to pause once again and I'm going to check. Is it cut through? Do all of the pieces look like they're cut through? And they do. It looks like everything's coming off. So I'm just going to go ahead and unload it. So that was the light chipboard setting. I could try a different setting if I wanted to, but I just find that I can pick light chipboard, let it go 3 passes, and then remove it from the mat. Then we can just peel the excess back. And in this case, I have some long cardboard pieces. And I'm actually going to use these on my project. So I'm just going to peel these up from the mat. And you can see just how great the Cricut cut this just shipping box. And my mat actually looks fine. It might have cut into it a little bit, but nothing I was not expecting. But you do want to be careful with the knife blade and cutting into your mat, so be sure to watch your machine. But about 3 passes for this thickness of cardboard should work, so just watch your machine when you're cutting this thick cardboard material. So now let's take a look at a project in Cricut Design Space that we could use with this cardboard, so you have an idea of what to use this for. So I'm actually going to use those pieces that I just cut to make a mini donut pinata. So I did cut a few of these long strips, and now I'm going to cut some circles from the cardboard, and then I'm going to cut these from cardstock to kind of decorate it and make it look like a donut. So I thought this would be a fun idea for a party favor. So it's just sort of a small pinata. I just made these with circles and excluded it, so you can see I just did an exclude with 2 circles, and this was already in Cricut Design Space as a donut. I just deleted all the other stuff. It was just sort of the icing portion and sized it to fit over my donut pinata here. So I'm going to go ahead and click make it, and I do not need these rectangles, right, because I already cut some in my example. So I'm going to go ahead and move this object to be with this other circle. So now I have both my circles here, and I'm gonna move them. Remember, we don't want anything over here, but that fits fine. And I do have another sheet of that same cardboard. So now I'm gonna click continue. Again, I'm gonna browse all materials. I'm gonna search chipboard, and I'm gonna do the chipboard 1.5mm setting and click done. Again, I'll just stop it after about 3 passes. So it does tell me to go ahead and load the knife blade. So now let's head to the maker and cut some more cardboard. So I've loaded this up, and I'm going to cut it in the same way. So once 3 passes are done, I'm just gonna hit pause again, make sure it's cut through, and it is, and go ahead and unload. And I'm gonna go ahead and cut the rest of the pieces to make the mini pinata. I have the cardboard pieces cut on the maker. I cut pink cardstock for my icing, and then I used some paper scraps and just cut them into little sprinkles here just with a pair of scissors. And then I'm using crepe paper, but you can use tissue paper. I just didn't have the right color. And I'm cutting it into like 2-inch strips, and these do not have to be perfect at all. And then you just fold the strip in half. And I find like if I take the edge of the ruler and really crease it, it'll stay a little bit better. And then just use your scissors to make fringe. in this crepe or tissue paper, does not matter. And I mean, I'm going with 2 inches, but if you have a smaller pinata, you might want to go smaller. Does not matter. And the fringe itself, as random as can be, I'm not being particular at all. So just going through and making fringe with that. And then we're going to assemble it with a hot glue gun. So there's our fringed crepe paper in this case. One more thing before we assemble this, we want to make these strips easier to bend because it's going to go around a circle. So if you just go through just with a craft knife, just that top layer of cardboard. So I'm not cutting all the way through. And if you'll just randomly do that all the way down, every 1/2 to 1/4 inch, then the cardboard will bend easier when we're going around. And the closer you get them, the tighter the bend will be. So I'll probably have to, in the case of this inside, I'll probably have to take one of these strips and cut the slits very close to get it to form to this easily. So I'm just going to go around these cardboard strips and just make little slits in just that top layer so we can get it to bend. Now I'm just going to use hot glue, and we're going to go around the outer edge as well as the inner edge with these cardboard strips. And now that I have those slits, it should form fairly easily to the curve. And then just hold it long enough for that glue to cool a little bit and move on to the next section. In this outer edge, you do want to leave a flap to insert your candy and for the recipient to probably remove it since it's kind of a mini pinata. So I will leave a flap at the very end here. So where the 2 pieces joined here, I hot glued them together. Now I'm reaching the other point where they're going to join, and I'm going to cut it off, leaving 1 inch or 2 of overhang. And what I want to do is to have enough overhang where I can tuck it inside. So I'm gonna cut off just a little bit more, and now I should be able to tuck it inside, and they should be able to remove it, remove the candy, tuck it inside, and it should look like a pinata. So now I'm gonna do this inside in the same manner with my cardboard strips. Then we'll just add hot glue around this top edge and go ahead and add the top. Now remember, we do not want to glue this flap, so you might want to open it up, have it sticking out here, and don't glue this portion. So just glue around the edges. So I'm just going to add the top portion and then we'll decorate. Then we're just going to start decorating this. I'm just going to add these strips, and I'm going to probably start in the center, use hot glue, and then just wrap them around and just keep adding strips all the way around. So you can just hot glue it basically at the top. Now crepe paper or tissue paper is thin, so you might want one of these hot glue fingertips here because the heat will definitely come through that paper. And then we'll just glue it all the way around and then just layer the paper strips just like a pinata and go all the way around here. And you might have to trim these if they're not to the right size, or you could just, if you have long strips, like long tissue paper strips, you could just keep wrapping. So I think I'm just going to kind of trim mine and have it join on the inside in here. And then you'll just add the next piece where it slightly hangs over the first. And then once we get up here, we'll just kind of layer up and just kind of piece these together. This does not have to be perfect. Just be sure not to glue your flap closed, so we'll just kind of cover it with a few strips on the sides. And here it is, all covered with the paper, and I did cover the flap, but leave it open. At this point, you might need to trim it, right? So it doesn't look too much like a donut with the middle. So you might just trim some of the pieces. Just use a pair of scissors, trim what you need to, hot glue some of them down, just to make it look like a donut. And then I'll probably definitely go around the edges and just trim any that are super long to make it look more round. So I'm just gonna trim this up, and then we can add the paper decorations with some more hot glue. Once you trim it, it's probably looking a little more like a donut, and then you can add your decorations. So we're gonna add our pink icing, And I'm just going to use hot glue for everything because it's out. You can use a different glue if you would like. So add pink icing. And then I'm just going to add random sprinkles, again, just with a little hot glue and just randomly all over the icing. And then after you're done, it should look a little something like this side. You can fill it with candy in the flap and then just tuck the flap inside. And you have a mini donut pinata party favor. So now we have our little mini pinata. We can fill it with candy, make a party favor. These are super cute, and yes, you could make it larger. Of course, you would be limited on size as far as what your Cricut machine could cut, or you could piece pieces together and make a larger pinata. So that's definitely an option. Now, all that's left to do is for you to come up with a project that uses cardboard, your maker machine, and the knife blade for cutting. And I did some fairly simple shapes, but you can definitely do some more intricate cuts. Now remember that the knife blade doesn't like super detailed cuts. It does like wider radiuses, long straight cuts, that type of thing. If you have some of those really intricate tight turns, it might not cut as well in those areas, and you might need to use a craft knife to finish the cut. Long straight pieces or wide curves will cut through first. And we talked about that you don't want to cut into your mat or your machine. The knife blade can cut into your machine, so you do want to watch the machine carefully and remove it. Like I said, 3 passes was all I needed to cut this thickness of cardboard. Now probably every cardboard piece you cut will be different because you don't get the same box in the mail every time you order from a place like Amazon. There are different boxes coming all the time, so it's just gonna depend on the box you have, how many passes it takes to actually cut through it, and get the shape that you want. So experiment with this method, make a few projects, make a donut pinata, and have fun cutting cardboard and recycling those materials into cute craft ideas. If you like this video, if it helped you, give us a thumbs up. If you have any questions about anything we've covered, drop down in the comment section, ask away. You might also want to head to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We have videos just like this one every single week, and trust me, you don't want to miss any of those. So thank you all so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.